Now, the idea behind gold as an investment, you'll see commercials everywhere about this. You need to invest your IRA in gold. It's the investment that keeps going up in value. It has a store of value, and they have all kinds of things that they talk about. It's been around for a long, long time. Well, gold, from an academic standpoint, is not an investment. And the reason has to do with something called cost of capital. So let me kind of go slow on this to make sure you get this concept. Let's say that I have an investment of $100,000, let's say, and that investment pays 3%. So in math, we would go 0.03, and then we take that and we say, well, what is it going to pay in interest each year? The answer would be $3,000. So I get that. Now I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to say, let's say that I have, and I know this is a CD in this particular case, and I have this investment, it's called a CD, and I know that it pays $3,000 a year. And I know that the interest rate is 3%, but I don't know the value of it. So this is X in my equation. X times 0.03 equals $3,000. Now, I know if I have done math for a while that I can divide both sides by this right here. I can divide it by 0.03, and I can divide that by 0.03. And if you take your calculator out, you'll notice that X equals 100,000. Okay, for those of you who hate math, you probably just hated what I went through, but I want you to get this. The idea is that I can put a value on the CD. I know what it's worth. I can put a number on it. Now, if I got this thing called gold, and X is the value of gold, but the interest rate is non-existent, there isn't an interest rate, and I go over here and say, well, it's not paying anything, then what's it worth? What is it worth? Big question mark. I don't know. I can't tell you what it's worth. And that's the problem with gold. It doesn't pay anything. It's not like a dividend-paying stock. It's not like real estate that pays rent value or anything like that. It's not like a CD that pays interest. So I can't tell you that it's worth anything, or I can't really figure it out. But they said, well, wait a minute, it does go up in value. And I said, yeah, it does because of its rarity. Now, if we look at how much it goes up in value historically, it's by the inflation rate. So 100 years ago, an ounce of gold bought a Goodman suit. Today, an ounce of gold buys a Goodman suit. So the rate of return, or what is called the real return on it, that's after inflation, would be 0. There's no real return historically for gold after inflation. Now, one of the things we can get confused about is that, well, it has a return. It goes up in value. Well, why? Well, part of the reason has to do with the sheer advertising that is being done right now on gold. We have this thing called supply and demand. Now, if you went through economics class, you saw this, you had this supply and demand curve. It kind of looked like this. And as the supply of something goes up, the value can go down. As the demand for something goes up, matter of fact, saying that more people want this thing, but there's a limited supply, what happens is when there's a limited supply, the price goes up. When you have advertising for something on TV saying, you need this, you really got to have this, and there is a limited supply of it, but more and more people want to buy it, the price will go up. But why is the price going up? It's going up because of demand. Is it going up, or is the return because of this cost of capital concept? And the answer is no, the return is not because of that. So what goes up, as the old song goes, can come down, and it can come down pretty rapidly. As a matter of fact, the level of volatility of gold has been about the same as the stock market, if not even greater historically. And we can find periods of time when inflation is hot, when inflation is going up, that gold can actually go down in value. So it's not well correlated with inflation, which goes against the narrative being talked about on these TV commercials. Now, when we hear about gold as an investment, what do we often hear? oh, we often hear that, you need to have this in your portfolio, and it's really great because the dollar's crashing in value and it's going down in value. And I always remind people that they're willing to take your dollars for their gold, so maybe they don't necessarily believe in what they're saying as much. Now, Michael in my office actually made this point about real estate and gold that I thought was kind of good. I thought I'd share it with you because I like the idea that he was talking about. Because real estate can have both aspects, and so can stocks because when you own stocks, you own companies and they own a lot of real estate, you can actually have both aspects in one investment. And that is that when I own a piece of real estate, let's say I own a house, well, I can charge rent for that house. Excuse my messy writing here because it's all over the place. I can charge rent so I can have a cost to use my property, my capital, but I can also have the house go up in value due to inflation. So you can have two aspects of returns with this. And that's the same thing with stocks. When I have stocks, I can have not only the company going up in value, but I can also have dividends being paid out or the earnings being paid out. But gold, no such thing happening. That is why it is a very precarious investment, and that is why I don't recommend it in an investment portfolio. Great as jewelry, as we like to say, but not so much as an investment.